Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another fragrance review. Thank you all very much for tuning in. It's my pleasure to be able to make these videos for you. And today we're going to be taking a closer look at the newest release by Ralph Lauren. This one is called Polo Red Extreme, so stay tuned. Now this fragrance is a brand new release, released in 2017. Now the original Polo Green was released back in 1978. The Polo Red interpretation was released in 2013. 2 years later, they came out with Polo Red Intense. 2 years after that, 2017, they come out with this fragrance. The perfumer for this one is Olivier Guillotine. He has done fragrances like Rive d'Ambre by Tom Ford, part of the Private Blend line. He has also done Z by Zegna and many other fragrances. He has a very vast repertoire, as it were. So let's go ahead and start things off by taking a closer look at the presentation. So the box for this one is pretty cool. It has the logo here in the front with the name of the fragrance, the size of the concentration down here at the bottom, and then you have the UPC at the very bottom with the serial number punched in there. So that's where you know to locate it so you can avoid counterfeits. You have the ingredients on the back with some more information in a few different languages. And then as far as the bottle is concerned, here it is. It almost has like this frosted glass finish. It has a matte finish. That's what I meant to say. It has Polo Red Extreme written on the perimeter of the cap here. The cap does click into place, so you could pick this one up from the cap if you wanted to. And then the atomizer is even red. So again, it's that little attention to detail that stands out. The atomizer for this one, it gives you a bit of a narrow distribution, but it does get the job done. And that was the presentation for Polo Red Extreme. Now this fragrance has a very simple note breakdown. You're gonna get cranberry, you're gonna get ebony wood, and you're gonna get coffee. So it's fruity. It has this sort of mature vibe attributed to the note of coffee. Every time I think of coffee, I think of Armani Attitude. And then it also has some woods in the base. Now let's go ahead and start things off by tackling the name, Extreme. A lot of people will say, in what way is it extreme? And how is that different from intense? Is extreme sort of a superlative for intense? Does it necessarily connote that it's a step up from intense? Well, when we take a look at the original Polo Red, I think that that was a really good scent, but it's a tonka bean dominated scent. So I think it followed sort of in the likes of fragrances like Versace Eros, which is another tonka bean dominant scent. Now with this fragrance, it sort of veers away from that, has more of a fruity nuance to it. And I think they're doing a really great job. Now, I don't think it's extreme in the sense that it's lasting longer, that it's louder, that it performs better, that it screams or jumps up off your skin. I do think it's extreme in the sense that that cranberry note that's up on top is a little bit more concentrated. It's more fruity. It has more flavor to it. It packs a stronger punch in this fragrance. And when you compare it with Polo Red Intense, it has a similar composition. So it's interesting to see the note breakdown for the intense version and for the extreme version and to see how vastly different they are. But at the same time, they have a lot of the same nuances. And yes, this did remind me of the intense version, which I actually have reviewed. I'm going to leave a link down below if you're interested in watching that video. This one opens up very fruity. The only point of reference that I can make is Ultra Male by Jean Paul Gaultier, which was composed by Francis Kurkdjian. If you've tried that fragrance, you're going to get something very similar here, but with this fragrance, it definitely packs a punch. It's a very sort of robust, fruity scent. I personally really like it, and I think that because of that high sort of concentration of the gourmand note, I think you're going to get a lot of compliments from this one too. Usually there are fragrances that people are sort of very inclined to compliment, and those are aquatic and fresh and citrusy fragrances and the sort of sweet gourmand fragrances. Well, this falls into the latter category. I personally love it. I'm not getting a whole lot of coffee, meaning I can't compare it to Pure Tonka by Thierry Mugler. I can't compare it to Pure Coffee by Thierry Mugler. I can't compare it to New Harlem by Bond No. 9 or even Rojas Man by Rojas. But I can say the coffee that's used in here adds a masculine and sophisticated vibe, but I don't think it's enough to offset the sweetness. The sweetness is definitely a bit too strong in this scent, but it all depends on what your personal taste is, right? So this might cater to your personal taste if you want fragrances that are a little bit on the sweeter side. Personally, I really like the scent. My wife smelled it. She really liked the scent. and I think they did a wonderful job with this one. Let's go ahead and finish things off by taking a look at my rating. First up, I took a look at the uniqueness in the overall smell, and the overall smell is incredibly pleasant, but I do have to warn and heed my warning. It is going to be very much so on the sweeter side. So definitely make sure you give it a try. Just know that this is a scent that is going to be conducive to a lot of compliments, so keep that in mind. As far as uniqueness is concerned, it does smell like Polo Red Intense a lot. When I did a side-by-side, I was able to point out the minute differences, but this one, like I said, that sweet, fruity nuance up on top, that overtone is a bit more concentrated. Longevity on this one was really good. I got about 6 to 7 hours, which given the concentration is within average limits. Projection on this one, it jumped up off the skin for the first 2 hours, became a skin scent at the 6-hour mark, which is actually above average in my books. Versatility on this one, I wouldn't say that I would wear this one dressed up. Maybe if you're going to a party, if you're going to a club, if you're going to the bar, because it has this youthful component to it, all the while not smelling juvenile. I actually did a video with my good friend Carlos. If you would like to see that video, I'm gonna leave a comment down below, but he compared this one to Paco Rabanne's 1 Million, and he said that that one is synthetically sweet or cloyingly sweet. You're not going to get that synthetic burst of bubblegum sweetness from this one, but it has some other nuances to sort of tame it down like the coffee, but again, it is going to be on the sweet side. I would wear this one in the colder weather, and I would reserve this for the younger crowd, so I do think it caters to a younger demographic. And lastly, we did take a look at the presentation. I actually quite like the presentation. I like the subtle nuances that separate and differentiate it from its predecessors within the same name. And if I were to give this fragrance an overall score, I would say this fragrance is a solid 4 out of 5 stars. I do think this is an improvement over the original. Heck, I do think this is even an improvement over the Intense version. But again, it is for fans of sweet fragrances, and I do happen to have a sweet tooth, or nose, as it were. So it does cater to my personal taste, but I would definitely recommend you sample this one before you buy it. Personally, I am a huge fan. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Polo Red Extreme. If you own or have tried this scent, please let me know. I would love to hear what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos, top 10s, giveaways, unboxings, and a lot of other fragrance-related content. So remember, I smell well so you can smell good, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.